Good morning, and thank you for joining us for our webinar on license management. I'm John with KETIV's Territory Sales Team, and we are joined by Autodesk's Ben Curtis and Jeffrey Hanlon. Ben and Jeffrey are Utilization Services Managers, and will be presenting the purpose of their team and how together we can help organizations better manage their Autodesk assets. Before I hand them the mic, I'd like to briefly reintroduce KETIV. In addition to our role as a technology reseller, we provide essential guidance and support through our consulting services and our Lifeline and Streamline teams. We exist to empower today's innovators and manufacturers for a better tomorrow. Please feel free to type your questions into the chat window, and we will do our best to address them during our Q&A session. And I will go ahead and pass the mic over to Jeff.
Thanks, John. I'll let my counterpart Ben introduce himself real quick.
Hey guys, this is Ben Curtis. I work on the Autodesk Utilization Services team. Been with Autodesk for about a year, located in Denver, Colorado, and I work with Autodesk customers that are in our territory-sized accounts for both manufacturing, media and entertainment, and architecture, engineering, and construction.
Thanks, Ben, and thanks, John. I'm Jeff Hanlon. I'm on the Autodesk Utilization Services team as well. And I have been with Autodesk about 13 years. I'm located in Denver, Colorado. And I am pleased to present today. Appreciate KETIV setting this up. Appreciate the attendees' time. And of course, today we're talking about optimizing license management with Autodesk Utilization Services. And you'll hear us frequently refer to that as AUS in the future here. We want to make sure we maximize our time today. The plan is to spend about 30 minutes with you. About 20 or 25 minutes will be on the content. The rest of the time we want to leave for questions and answers. If you have questions, please open your Q&A panel and type in questions at any time. We're going to try and get to those at the end of the webcast, or if we don't have time to get to them all, we will certainly follow up with you personally afterwards. But basically, the plan today, or the agenda, is to make sure you understand what AUS is. We're going to talk about the benefits and value of the program to you all as customers. And then we're going to talk about the different services that we have available, because there's a few different options. And then, of course, a little bit about the process and the tools, so you understand and are comfortable with how we're going to get to the results that are typically so valuable for our customers. And then we'll end with questions and answers. A little bit about how the Autodesk Utilization Services engagement got launched a few years ago. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. Autodesk has been endeavoring to become a more strategic partner with our customers. So in essence, we're trying to change the nature of our relationships with our customers. Of course, we're a vendor. In the past years, you might have seen us as an AutoCAD vendor who approximately in March or April shipped out a DVD of your latest AutoCAD release. But in the last few years, we're trying to align more with our customers' business needs and objectives, so that our offerings and solutions meet those. So a little less focused on maybe infrequent engagement like at renewal time, technology updates, and just reactive technical support, to a more focused objective on helping customers meet their business needs and have a little more continuous engagement. And then the proactive guidance note there just talks about a little bit about how much we've tried to become an industry leader in certain areas. In manufacturing in the last few years, we've put together the Future of Making things, or now called Future of Making presentation. And then we've also, in the last few years, put together some really high-level acquisitions in the construction space, like PlanGrid and Building Connect. So that leads us to the next slide here. So on the AUS side, we're not an audit team. We're a proactive engagement team. But if we do identify compliance risks, we help you clean those up and get your licensing environment satisfied. Another great justification for engaging with our team is that if you run a network utilization study, you can get justification driven by data showing that your licenses are in use. So if you have 15 licenses of product design and manufacturing collection, for instance, and your manager wants to know if you need to renew your upcoming contract, you can run through this utilization study and get absolute defined data to justify that upcoming expense. It may even show that you need to add some licenses, or on the flip side, it may show that you could potentially reduce the size of that contract and save yourself a little bit of money. There's a lot of data that comes from it, and sometimes it leads to recommendations from the team, such as simplification of your contracts, maybe optimizing to a different licensing model. We really let the data tell the story, and that leads to certain ways of options moving forward.
So there's a couple different options when it comes to AUS. We offer a few different services, really three main ones. We have our full AUS service, which is the health check. That's an analysis of both your single user licenses, install base, as well as your the network utilization of your network licenses, so usage data. We also offer just the usage side. So if you have network licenses and you just want to do a business case for if you need to keep all those licenses, or if you know you need to reduce license count, we can do the network usage analysis. The third one available is our industry collections pilot, or the demand assessment. What that is we provide customers with an unlimited industry collection for multi-user licenses for 30 to 90 days. Essentially, that gives us a really accurate picture of whether or not what licenses you're using, gives you access to more products across the portfolio, and gives us a really accurate count of how many licenses it makes sense to move forward with. So who can benefit from AUS? Really any customer that's interested in measuring their software usage, mitigating risk, or possibly even eliminating their deployment risk on the single user side, interest in identifying all Autodesk assets in their environment, interest in measuring demand, and a few questions to consider. Do we know what our network license utilization is? What Autodesk assets do we have installed across the enterprise on the single user side? What products are being used and how often are we using those? We can get as detailed as who's using what product, how often, what day they're logging in to use that product as well. Do we have enough or the correct data? And do we have any risk with the current deployment? And that goes back to the compliance risk analysis Jeff had mentioned. So the roles and responsibilities. So on the left here, we have what we expect of the customers. We have what we expect from you all is to collect the software installation data from the desktop and the server environment. We'll detail what that looks like later in the presentation, and then provide that usage data for us for analysis. On the Autodesk side, what we do is we provide any necessary support throughout the engagement. We make sure that if you have any technical issues, those are resolved quickly, and that it's a very easy process for you. Once we receive the data, we present the analysis back to you, the customer, and make any relevant recommendations based on the consumption, any potential risk, and make any recommendations based on those.
Thanks, Ben. So I'll talk a little bit more about the benefits to our customers who have multi-user or network license environments. And I guess I'll go back to an example of a customer who had a specific number of licenses in their network license pool. They are getting some notifications from their end users that they are locked out or can't check out a license because all the licenses are in use. So an obvious play would be to pick up the phone and call KETIV and order some more licenses, but they don't know exactly how many they need. So the in-depth utilization study would give you exact specifics on your overall utilization. You'd find out how many people are logging into the network licensing pool, but more importantly, you'd find out your average daily use and then a high water mark of use. So you'd see what days you're actually getting the notifications for denial of access. And then instead of buying 5 licenses, a little bit of a guess, maybe you would get the data to tell you to buy 3 or to buy 8. So you're going to identify a lot of key categories, your power users and casual users, but you're also going to identify what products are being used so you buy the right products. And then you're going to get a lot of additional details like the top hourly used product, how long people log into a product, it's really quite impressive, the data set you get. And again, the benefits are justification of a purchase or a renewal, a potential reduction in licenses, and then perhaps a consolidation play. So it'll depend on what the data shows, but we help identify those recommendations to customers. The approach for collecting data for network license study is pretty straightforward. We send a video with step-by-step instructions, but what we basically need from you all is an administrative person with access to the license server or servers, and then through a 5 or 10-minute process, they turn on report logging on the network license server with an options file so that data starts being collected. We always like to confirm that logging is enabled, so we don't wait 4 weeks just to find out it wasn't done properly. But then in a agreed upon time period, typically a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks, we'll have a good baseline of usage. Less time is less valuable because you might have some peaks and valleys in usage, such as people out on vacation or out sick or in training. So the longer the data collection can go, the better. But at the end of that agreed upon time period, you all simply send back the report log and license file from each server so that our data team can go into analysis of it. And I consider that data team here at Autodesk to be kind of our ace in the hole. They have years and years of experience of analyzing the information, and what they put together from the thousands of lines of usage information is really helpful, detailed charts and graphs of summaries of informational categories, so that it's easy to digest and understand on our end. This is a snapshot of one of the tabs you'd get in a usage summary report. There's a lot more to it, but this is a quick snapshot, and we wanted to show it because it does show utilization in real time by day, by product. And then as you can see in this instance, it shows you the maximum available and the maximum used. In this case, the customer was maximizing the usage across all of their license pool. But there's additional information across the board, but this is one of the tabs that you'd get.
So on the single user standalone side, we'll go through the benefits real quickly here. And just to frame up the discussion, Autodesk Utilization Services kind of came about as the counterpoint to our license compliance organization. Our license compliance team goes out there, they audit customers, they're looking for pirated licenses, over-installed licenses, and what we ended up getting was a lot of good customers caught in the crossfire, people who were making honest mistakes and then getting dinged. So really the benefit of the single user analysis to help identify those areas without any sort of punitive damages. We'll show you an example in the next few slides here, but really the benefit is identifying that compliance risk. If you're looking to find out where licenses are installed as well, we help with that. We give you a full detailed spreadsheet of where the licenses are installed, what version, what serial number, what users associated with those. We can also identify with the addition of our entitlement data. Are there licenses that have been purchased either through a different reseller or different method of purchase online that aren't installed in your environment that you could benefit from? So the way we go about collecting standalone license data, what we need from you guys is administrative access on a networked workstation, so similar to the license server, whether that's someone in IT or someone who manages the licenses, and we need about 1 to 2 hours to install and set up the script methods. So the process is to download and install Autodesk Inventory Advisor. That's a lightweight WMI scanner that we OEM from a vendor. We have a few different scan methods. We recommend the logon script method. The reason we recommend that, you can kind of set it and forget it. You turn it on, and as people log into their computers, we pull back any information that has Autodesk software on it. Typically, this takes 3 to 4 weeks, along with the usage data. By itself, it could take 2 weeks to gather that information. The customer then gathers the by serial number report, sends it over to us, and we do our analysis on that side. So this is a sample report. When you get this back and you go through an audit, this can be a bit scary because you can see that big number on the bottom right. And that is what the license compliance team will ask for a new purchase of. So what we do, we go through the same process, we identify those issues. You can see there's all sorts of different ways you can get in trouble. We point those out, we show you the dollar value, and then we ask that you just uninstall those rather than pay for new licensing. If you need those licenses, obviously you can buy them, but we just recommend that you uninstall. So the expected business outcomes, there's quite a few, as you can tell, on the usage side and the single user side. But really, we're just trying to increase your knowledge of your assets, whether that be single user installations, entitlement data, usage information, and potentially reduce your overall long-term software costs. This is also can be used as a business case, so you can reduce your software costs. You can also use this for upper level management to as a validation for additional licenses, as well as reducing, again, the compliance issues you might experience.
Well, thanks, Ben. So I'm going to finish up the content here with a final option for working with the Autodesk Utilization Services team. Ben mentioned briefly earlier that we offer an industry collections pilot, and it's a really great option that includes, of course, our industry collection. So you may be familiar with the fact that a few years ago, Autodesk started bundling our industry-specific software into 3 categories: architecture, engineering, construction, product design and manufacturing, and media and entertainment. And since the inception of the product suites a few years back, we've consolidated into a more concise collection of products so that it's just one bundle per industry. It really has anything you'd ever need as an industry professional in that area to complete your job or your task. You get all the versions of AutoCAD, for instance, in the AEC collection. You get Revit for architectural applications and Civil 3D for civil engineering use. And that's just a quick summary of the collections. Of course, the same thing goes for product design, manufacturing collection, and media and entertainment. But what the collection is it's basically a way for our networked or multi-user environment customers to swap out a license file for an unlimited number of collections so that they can get a true demand assessment of their licenses. If you have a current license file, you might have a certain number of users, and you can get a lot of information from a network study. But if you are concerned about hitting a ceiling of usage, in the collections pilot, you can actually get a true usage assessment. So you get exactly how many licenses are used. You don't have a cap, it's unlimited. So again, you get the in-depth utilization data, what products people are using. One of the great things about the collections is they have technology embedded into them so that when you use a collection product, it pulls that individual product. So if somebody uses AutoCAD and then Inventor and then Max that day, it notes that they use that individual product, not just pulling a collection. Another additional benefit is that it could expose your end users to more products that could help them in their workflow. The approach is similar to how we kick off all AUS engagements, but we like to have a call with your stakeholders so that we can kick off the program and answer all your questions. In the industry collections pilot case, we do need very basic server information and a copy of your license file. And with that, we provide an agreement letter sent through DocuSign to formalize the agreement. And we then, we then set up a temporary license file so that you can use that collection for 30 to 90 days. At the end of the time period, you basically send back the report logging that you've enabled by providing us with the report log, and then our analyst team goes to work on understanding the data usage, and we present it back to you all in a report that has a lot of details, and then we send it to you in a file as well, so you can review it at your convenience. The one additional step we like to ask is that you all provide communication to your end users, because although Swapping out a license file won't impact access for them. It will introduce them to new products they may not have had available to them before. The one caveat or requirement for participation is that you have a network license environment already. We can't set one up if you don't have one. Sorry about that. This is just a snapshot of one of the tabs you'd get from an AUS industry collections data report. What we wanted to make sure to show was that it showed all the products individually used in a collection. The unlimited quantity, well, 9,999 should be unlimited for most folks anyways. The number used in each category. Additionally, you're going to see that it does have a designation for the PC that was used, and typically each customer knows who those users are. We don't, but you all do. And then it shows the number of hours that people were logged in, so you can see your part-time users, your power users, and stuff like that. And then in that graph, it shows the daily usage over time of the different products. So you get a real-time usage understanding and visibility into consumption. The call to action from today is that we would like you all to connect with KETIV or your Autodesk representative, including Ben or I, to take advantage of the AUS engagement options. We think that there's a great bit of value in the data that you receive, and typically the outcome from the customers who go through this program is that they're very satisfied with the robust data set they get and the working relationship that's been established by Autodesk. So that's our intent, and we wanted to remind you that we do have 3 ways to work with us. You can get a network utilization study done. You can go through a full service AUS health check, which would include the desktop standalone installation identification exercise, and or you could kick off an industry collections pilot. So I think we ended about where we wanted to, and we did want to open it up for questions. I will note that on this final slide, my information, Ben's information, and the KETIV folks, including John's information, is available. So if you wanted to denote that, we look forward to hearing from you, and now we'll try and answer some of the questions. John, are you seeing any questions at this time?
Yes, I am, and thank you again, guys, for the presentation. We have a question in from Tom, and his question is, when you say you need admin access to the client, are you talking about an permanent admin profile, or just during installation? Really, would they be able to enter an admin password to authorize the install, or would you have to have continuous access?
No, yeah, it's just one-time access. So that person typically would help us get access for the initial period to set up either report logging, which is a very simple part of the network utilization study, or if he's talking about Autodesk Inventory Advisor, that needs to be installed on a workstation with access to the nodes across the environment. But it is a one-time access, if my understanding of the question is correct. Additionally, I guess, John, I would say is that AIA is only searching out for Autodesk software. It's not leaving a footprint. It's not seeking out any other information. It is specifically looking for an Autodesk serial number and deployment type, and that's why we use it. If you do have another software asset management tool in your environment, it will work on its own, or it will work in conjunction with other tools.
How much does the utilization services cost?
It's complimentary. Yeah, we offer it complimentary for a few reasons, because it can work out for Autodesk, it works out for our customers, but yeah, it's a totally complimentary service that we offer.
Well, if anyone thinks of anything, our contact information is shown. We appreciate everyone's time. We appreciate you being an Autodesk customer. We know license management of Autodesk software is not exactly easy sometimes. So that's why our team exists, is to help you get an understanding of your Autodesk licensing environment, make sure you're licensed correctly, but also make sure you're right-sized for your needs. If you have the right product quantities and the right product mix, then you're going to be a happier, more productive customer, and we know that our relationship is just going to improve in the future.
Thank you again, Jeff and Ben.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.